everybody, welcome back to Rice Camera Action. I'm your host as always, Geoff Gaudet, and I'm here with a great Canadian performer buddy of mine.
How you doing, man?
Yeah, introduce yourself to the audience.
Hi, my name is Josh Newton, also, like Geoff said, fellow Canadian.
Yep.
Actually, I think we're from a very similar area,
Yeah,
aren't we?
I'm from Pickering in
Yeah.
Ontario.
I'm from Guelph, Ontario.
Yeah, okay.
So we're just a few hours apart,
Yeah,
right?
just on either side of Toronto.
Yeah. It was pretty wild. And then
Just down the 401.
That's right. Or the paid 407.
I can't drive, so whatever.
Yeah.
But I've been on the 407, the 427.
Oh, yeah.
So once again, we're back recording at Colcom. I'm always coming here because they have the best service, the kindest people. Colcom is one of the oldest and largest language and cultural exchange cafes in South Korea. They have monthly events. So if you're looking for a good place to hang and maybe talk to someone, check out if there's a Colcom in your area.
Nice.
Yeah. So Josh,
Yeah.
we've known each other for like 4 years or so.
Yeah, about that. I've been in Korea now for 6 and a bit years.
Yeah.
And I guess actually we would have known each other for roughly 3-ish.
Three-ish,
Because
yeah.
I was teaching for 3 years, then I switched over.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're one of those actors that started off as an English teacher,
Exactly.
but then got the acting bug.
Yeah, that was sort of the gateway, right?
Yeah.
Come into Korea, start teaching, spend some time here, and then you hear about, hey, it's possible, you're a foreigner,
Yeah.
you could do some modeling.
Yeah.
I've never even thought of that before.
Yeah. For the people that are actually listening, Josh is, Josh looks like me, but Photoshop. So he's a couple inches taller. He's got more hair on his head and a bigger smile. I got prettier eyes though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Undoubtedly.
yeah, thank you very much. At least I have one thing up on you. But
And the charm, you got that too.
well, thank you very much. But so, just going back, you said that you started off as an English teacher and then you became an actor. Did you lose the English teacher bug or did you catch the acting bug?
I think I lost the English teacher bug.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When I came here, the first thing I wanted to do was teach adults.
Yeah.
I knew I was more in line with that style of teaching.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, trying to just go directly from Canada to teaching adults in Korea, there were not many opportunities.
Right.
And usually they're kind of like, well, start with kids because there's lots of them.
Yeah.
So start with kids. And as per my suspicion, it wasn't as enjoyable as I was hoping it would be. And then eventually, I got to switch I found a job and started teaching adults.
Yeah.
Loved that. Did it for 2.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm used to, back in Canada, I switched jobs a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm used to variety.
Mm-hmm.
So just even doing one job for 2.5 years was a long time for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was just getting antsy.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking at leaving Korea.
Yeah.
And then actually it was one of my students, or the class of students, they said, you should be an actor.
Okay.
And I was like nobody in Canada has ever said that.
Oh, really?
Nobody. In fact, my friends, they were like, I mean, you're cute, but you're not that good looking. I was like, oh, thanks.
Oh.
Yeah. So then they said, basically, I think it's because we as North Americans are a lot more animated.
Yeah.
Facially, gesturally.
Oh, dude, I get what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
Busted for talking with my hands and being too flamboyant or whatever.
Right. And then the Koreans, right, typically when they converse, it's very closed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they said, you should be an actor just because you, and I was like, all right. So then took a month off of teaching.
Okay.
I had that because my contract had kind of just finished basically, or I had a 1 month break, which I think is pretty normal with different contracts.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's probably the February or whatever.
And then, so I took a month off and then in that time just tested it.
Mm-hmm.
Started contacting agencies, just using Instagram, Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got a bunch of interviews, auditions, photo shoots, and it went pretty good.
Right.
And I was like, all right, well then, if I'm going to stay in Korea, let's just sort of do this leap of faith.
Yeah.
And then it was actually right before the pandemic that I switched over.
Oh, wow.
January 1st, 2020 is the official day one of freelancer
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like for me, like I think I had like a year and a half before the pandemic doing
Mm.
Surprise. So
Mm.
like, but Surprise, like, but that was even a headache in itself because the show doesn't have a very good reputation,
Sure. Yeah.
as well as for sponsor. Like, I did want to become an actor, but I didn't have any of these contacts
Right.
yet,
Yeah.
or even sponsors. And so, and Surprise actually could only sponsor a visa for, which is like a C4 for 3 months.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so every 3 months I was doing a visa run
Oh,
to get
jeez.
a performer. It sounds kind of bad, right?
Dude.
And even like us as Canadians too, like we could come in on a tourist visa,
Yeah.
and it's 6 months.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, because
Okay.
there's an agreement between Korea and Canada.
Right.
Like, so Korea allows people to go on give an extended working holiday,
Okay.
and Canada allows Koreans to come on an extended working holiday visa,
Right. Right.
and then Canadians could come and they get double the amount of time of any person at the gate of immigration. So normally people only get 90 days, we get 180 days.
Yeah, okay.
But anyways, but for me to work on a C4, they could still only give me 90 days.
Oh, it's wild.
It sucks, and because every 3 months, I had to basically fly out of the country,
Yeah.
get a new visa, and then waste some money, buy an airplane ticket, a hotel, and food,
Yeah.
but then come back. But also, I wasn't working like it's a temporary thing, so I got to keep all the money.
Okay.
Yeah, so a lot of it, as you know, you and I, we work for the same agency, and
Yeah,
there's always a percentage taken off our
Yes.
paychecks.
Yeah.
I got on the C4, I got to keep all my money
Okay.
and go traveling.
Okay.
So when I had it, it was very burdensome, but
Yeah.
now I'm like, well, I wish I could just go back to it,
Yeah, I
because
mean-
going on a vacation every 3 months sounds
Exactly.
awesome.
That's what I was just thinking is that, on the upside, every 3 months you get to just dip out of Korea
Yeah.
for a little break.
Yeah, exactly. Go to Thailand, go to the beach.
Yeah. One thing, I mean, I never had this kind of feeling when I was back home,
Yeah.
but when you start living in a different country where the culture is so different, the
Yeah.
language is different. Like when you walk around, you don't see English, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you get, most foreigners I talk to, you get this feeling after a certain amount of time, you kind of reach this threshold where you're like, I just need a little break.
Mm-hmm.
It's nothing against Korea.
Yeah.
It's just, I need,
Your tolerance gets to so much, and then you just have to go
Yeah.
somewhere and blow off.
So that-
scream into a pillow.
that's right. So every 3 months, that actually doesn't sound too bad.
Yeah. But then so I did that a year and a half, and then basically right before the pandemic is
Yeah.
when I got my first long-term my E6 visa,
Right. Okay.
and then the pandemic started, and there was no work.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. In the beginning, it's just
yeah. So it was
wiped everything out.
And I was also working for a shitty agency too,
Yeah.
because this agency also asked for money up front.
What?
Yeah, so they're like, you have to give us like 2 million won,
Oh, yeah.
to do the paperwork,
To buy the visa.
to buy the visa.
But yeah, as you said, it's the paperwork,
The
right?
paperwork,
Quote unquote.
but like a good agency will actually just pay,
Yeah.
the government fees now. But
Yeah.
there's some shady agencies that just basically take the money, like going, hey, give me $2 million and I'll give you 2 million won and I'll give you a visa.
Yeah.
And then, but the real ones, and then they don't give you any work as well.
Yeah, exactly.
But the good agencies will sponsor you and actually offer you work from time to time.
Yeah, from time to time. Exactly. Yeah. I got actually it's sort of the same like scam as well that happened to me in the beginning.
Yeah.
My first agency, because during that 1 month trial period that I mentioned, I auditioned for a movie and I didn't really know what I was doing, just went for it. And they wanted this, they told me sleazy American. And so I was like, all right. So I just imagined the sleaziest, cheesy people I could from high school, put them into one and was like, okay, this guy did it. And then I got the role.
Okay.
So now I'm still teaching, but then you have a movie role.
Yeah.
And then all these stories start rolling in. They're like, if you get caught and you have the wrong visa, you're out. You're deported and you can't come back for like 10 years.
Yeah.
And all these other things that'll wreck the movie. And I was like, holy shit, what do I do? So then that was also a big push because I had to decide. It's like, do you keep the movie
Yeah.
character role as a secondary sort of character,
Mm-hmm.
or and then switch to
Yeah.
acting, or do you drop the movie and then just keep teaching?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I already want to switch, so let's just see what
So
happens.
that's the jump you needed.
Yeah. If it goes up in flames, then I guess I just go back to Canada. But I was like, all right, let's see what happens. But then in that time, I was searching for an agency, visa, all that stuff, right? And I'm the exact person that those kind of agencies are hunting for, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you need a visa now? Oh, okay, 4 million won.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
And then every time you say no, the price keeps dropping.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait, what? How does that work?
Yeah.
How's it go from 4 million won, me saying no, and you're like, okay, 2 million. And you're like, where did 50% of that go?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I ended up having to sign with one of them as well.
Yeah.
And it was a disaster. It was a mess.
Like my first agency, they didn't even speak any English. So, and they were and then when I had to renew, they didn't even know how the process of renewing a visa. So they hired a lawyer.
Oh.
But that actually at that time, then NBC signed me for a contract for a couple for 6 months for like a touring show.
Okay.
Where like a foreigner would go to these reclusive like villages where there's lots of elderly people.
Oh, I didn't know about this.
We only shot this was also during the pandemic too. So we only were able to shoot about 10 episodes before the Delta variant kicked in.
Okay.
And obviously I'm going to all these old villages too, and they're more susceptible.
Yeah.
But it's also it was very depressing too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like, because it would just be a small village, maybe a population of 100 people,
right?
And they're all elderly, and like I would be chatting with them, and it's kind of they function almost like on a barter system. Some of the places.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, so they're like exchanging sweet potatoes for like dried fish. But when I talk to them, like, oh, my family never visits me, yada yada. And so I'm like, oh, can I take a picture? Can you call, like, here, let's call my grandchildren. I'm like, and you could chat with them. But it was very depressing.
Yeah. Sometimes it looks like as you said, these villages you'd be going to, or some of the places I've visited, once you get outside of sort of the metropolitan areas, the bigger cities, right? Yeah. Then sometimes it seems like it's just been forgotten. Yeah.
As well as like they would all gather into a rest building or like a cultural building, and like they would all sit in a circle. But it'd be me talking with all these grandmothers, and they have a thick Korean accent, which is hard to understand, as well as like, and then the cameraman was like, okay, let's go to the next location. I'm like, I would tell like, Helma, didn't you say that you had something to show me outside of like in your garden? And then and then basically they would stand up like an infant child. So they would roll over, plant their hands on the ground, and then shove their butts in my face.
Oh, really?
Like, well, not directly in my face, but like just so I just
that posture to get up.
because they're so old. So I just saw a lot of old Korean butts shoved in my face, which is not the best. Doesn't really look the best when you're like making a sour face.
Yeah, the camera's got you going. I mean, that's one thing that, as an outsider, is fascinating to me, in the most, I guess, respectful way. But it's that like our Canadian history is nothing compared to Korean history, right? And then even when you talk about the Korean War and just when they really had that push for economic development, wasn't that long ago. Yeah. And these generations that we see, these elderly that are like 80, 90, 70, right? Their bodies are broken. Yeah,
because just working in the farm, like it's the whole, like, because they come, from the 50s where there's like agriculture build, and then the 70s was like economic build. Yeah. Now we're into the 2020s, and it's more like digital revelation.
Yeah, exactly. And then there just wasn't the kind of care for the body, right? It was just sacrifice yourself for the good of the country,
and even like for the next generation.
Exactly. The country, the generations to come. And it was just such a different mentality than I guess what we grew up with in North America, especially now. Everything in North America seems very selfish.
Oh, really?
That's at least according to the
Well,
social media.
I feel like, well, it's international. There's like
Yeah.
this generation. It's just me.
Ah, yeah.
And I got, but my friends also, like my other Canadian friends, like going, you're just thinking about yourself a lot too. I'm like, oh, I guess I'm a product of my
That's
generation.
right. A product of
Yeah.
the media. Yeah. And so then to have that mindset to look at 2, 3 generations ahead, like I'm
Yeah.
doing this for my grandchildren, right?
Hmm.
Great grandchildren. Um, Pretty admirable.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then just what they did sacrifice. And
Hmm.
then, as you said, what makes it, more depressing is that then you find them, this group of 100
Hmm.
left alone
Yeah.
in a village
Hmm.
without any care. And you're like, oh man.
Well, it's also like going back, there's also a little bit of that generation. They're stubborn not to move.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
too, man.
Because like my grandmother was that way. Like she's
Oh,
from PEI,
yeah.
and she didn't really go with all my uncles and my father. They all moved to Niagara
Mm,
during the big boom of the 70s, 60s and 70s. But she went, and they all got married, and she didn't really attend their weddings because she was just, I don't want to leave my home. I
oh,
don't want to,
really?
yeah.
Mm. My my great grandma on my
Hmm.
dad's side, I
Yeah.
met her a few times.
Yeah.
She was straight from Poland.
Okay.
And yeah, she's the same, just stubborn as nails, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, tough as nails and just stubborn. She would not leave her home. She lived there without caretaker and stuff. She lived to be, I think she was like 96 or 97.
Yeah.
And there were these insane vertical stairs
Hmm.
that she would climb every night to go to bed, even in
Hmm.
her like early 90s. She
Hmm.
just, man, that generation.
Yeah. Getting back a little bit on topic.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
So yeah, like yeah, so we both struggled during the COVID, but like I
Yeah.
guess the last year, like a lot of the restrictions have gone down. How has that been for you? Like even 2 weeks ago,
Yeah.
like the mask mandate was
Right.
totally removed. So
Yeah.
now while we were walking here, we were just talking about like, oh, how the things haven't really changed with the
Right.
mask. You don't need to wear a mask, but people are still wearing them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think we as foreigners,
Yep.
we kind of have to be a little bit cautious.
Hmm.
Um, like when we say we're a minority in Korea, people have to understand like you're a serious minority, and it's not even nitpicking into groups like Canadians, Americans,
Yeah.
Indonesians, something like that. No, I mean like as the classification as a foreigner, non-Korean, we only
Mhm.
make up like 3% of the
Yeah, yeah.
population, right?
And like the largest percentage is like Chinese, Korean, or like Southeast Asian,
Right.
and then the next one is actually U.S. military,
Right.
and then like third you have whatever the English teachers or whatever we are too.
Yeah. And so like when I say that we as
We're a
foreigners,
fraction of a fraction of a fraction.
exactly. So then when I say we as foreigners have to be a bit careful, it's because yeah, we're a minority.
Mhm.
And in the past, certain things that were not the foreigners'
Hmm.
problems were just tossed on us,
Yeah.
right?
Did you test positive for COVID?
Yeah,
no?
eventually, yeah.
I'm still COVID free.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Maybe you're one of the rare immune
I
people.
do have like awesome genetics.
Okay.
Yeah.
I envy you then.
Well, no, this is the result. Like, my hair falls out. But
But maybe there's something that knew in your DNA that it had to be immune to COVID.
yeah, well, like I the closest I came
Yeah.
was when I got my the third shot, my booster,
Yeah.
and then I later that night I felt kind of ill,
Yeah.
and I'm like going, okay, well, I guess this is just the symptoms from the booster,
Yeah.
and then I'm just gonna I'm just gonna stay in for the next 24 hours,
Right.
and then the following day I got a message like going, oh, a shoot that you were on 5 days ago, someone tested positive for COVID.
Okay.
You should go get a PCR test. I'm like, well, I don't know. I just had
Yeah.
the booster shot. I have this symptom. I got the symptoms from
Yeah.
from the booster. I don't, and I'm just staying in it. I'm isolating myself anyways. So
Yeah.
I'm just gonna skip that PCR test.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
So I might have had it and then got a booster and then had double fold or something like that. But
you came out unscathed, right?
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
symptoms were okay.
yeah, I did. Yeah, my 24 hours later, yeah, I felt better.
You felt fine. Oh,
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
that's the closest, but it would have been like mixed results anyways.
Yeah. the variety in how it hit people,
Mhm.
right? It's just insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like in my case, some people, right, asymptomatic
Yeah.
forever. Some people immune. Some people just, a little discomfort. That's
Mhm.
it. I sneezed
Yeah.
for like 2 days. I just sneezed a lot,
Mhm.
and that was it.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And
Yeah.
then other people, actually died. Millions
Yeah.
died, right? Or
Yeah.
something. I don't know what the numbers are
I
now,
don't
but
know anyone like close, but like secondhand people. Yeah.
yeah,
People by secondhand association. I know like one or two grandparents that have passed.
passed away.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah.
But
Wild.
it was for like Korea never stopped while during the
Right?
COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going on Tinder and like there were some Kyopo girls like
Yeah.
Korean Canadians, and when Canada shut down, they came here, and they're just like they thought it was like only going to be 3 month lockdown.
Yeah.
So like I went on dates with them, but they're going, no, I'm just here, well, because I have dual citizenship, but I'm not looking for anything serious.
Right.
But then again, 2 years later,
They're still here.
they're still here.
Yeah.
But I just called it off because I'm like, oh, I thought I want to get to know someone, and
Yeah.
you're not looking to get to know someone. You're just here to waste time.
Yeah.
But like for the work, even like acting, right?
Yeah.
We were still doing acting.
Yes.
Yeah.
In fact, it worked in reverse for us.
Mm-hmm.
I had this suspicion
Mm-hmm.
that in a strange way, actually, COVID helped us
Mm-hmm.
as actors because countries shut down, right?
Yeah.
And so then borders locked up, and they're like, okay, well, we have to film in Korea.
Yeah.
So our small community had a lot of commercial work.
There was a lot of commercial work, but right now with everything open, like a lot of the shoots, they had limited numbers of staff.
Yeah.
So they weren't doing these elaborate shoots with like hundreds of people.
Right.
It was like only like everything that was being pitched, every concept was like no more than 5 people.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when the borders opened up, things loosened up.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I was talking to a couple different agents and some of the production companies, and they're like, oh yeah, like even for them, now work is harder.
Yeah.
Because the big companies, the conglomerates, right? Hyundai, Samsung, LG, these big giants,
Yeah.
they just sent all their work overseas.
Yeah.
Like it's cheaper for them
Mm-hmm.
to hire a crew in Italy
Mm-hmm.
and models over there, get it done there and just send us the finished product than to do it locally.
Mm-hmm.
And so now we're sitting here going,
Yeah. During COVID, I recall like a lot of sets being green screened.
yes, totally. Yeah.
But but I think it's still there's still work happening. But
Yeah.
yeah.
And then just the general, like, how many years have you been in entertainment now?
5.
5.
now.
Okay. Then you've gone through the full swing of
But
things, eh?
like the first 2 years, I was like acting and then teaching on the side.
Okay.
Yeah. So like while I was because it's also hard to break in because you need to know. You have to find all these casting agents.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like when I look at my phone, like in my Calcal list, there's probably over 250 people I have labeled in my casting agent folder.
Yeah.
Where I have to like constantly update, keep them updated on my current look, my weight, and,
Yeah.
my age, and all my shoots.
The intro video.
The intro
4590.
Yeah, 4590. But yeah, like so, but it was hard. Like also, like people didn't want to share like any content. That's
Right.
it's very competitive.
Yeah.
So people don't want to share their contacts. So,
Which, is it's pretty bonkers. And one of the things I set out to do in the very beginning was, if I get a few people that trust, build like a little group, trusted group, and just like it doesn't matter. Like you and I have such a different image.
Yeah.
Right? That they're not going to be like, well,
yeah,
they're going for the same
we
thing.
We do have a similar image, a different image, but we've also been cast for similar roles.
Sure, a guy with beard.
Guy with beard, and then I'm like, I'm like going, oh, I didn't get that shoot, and then I look at your Facebook or yours, oh, Josh got that one. Fuck, again, Josh. I go,
guy with beard, white guy with beard.
White guy with beard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then here, I mean, my only experience is in Korea, right?
Yeah.
But I just don't know. I mean, yeah, my only experience is in South Korea, but
But yeah, I wanted to
I
break
wonder.
into like I wanted to like break into entertainment because I did like Second City and I did like improv
Yeah.
and stand up before coming into Korea. And then when I was getting tired of teaching English and I
Hmm.
wanted to break in and I knew some people that knew some contacts and their reaction was, "Sorry, I don't want to help you because any job that you get might be a job that I don't get."
Even in Canada,
In Korea, in
in Korea,
Korea, in
right?
Korea. So it took me, yeah, like I had to basically like just pay attention and try like go on Craigslist, try to find a casting,
Yeah,
just slowly build up all this stuff.
yeah. And then it's brutal when you have to do it by yourself.
Yeah.
So anytime someone asks me for some help, I give them contacts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I give them contacts. I give them the Kakao message,
Hmm.
not just Instagram, 'cause it
Yeah.
seems easier to ignore.
Yeah.
Um, and then I help them with agencies. I've helped a lot of people with agencies
Hmm.
because it's also just such a minefield to navigate by yourself.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's because my mentality, and I think yours is the same. That yeah, I mean, we're like it's different image, it's whatever. So it
Yeah. Well, it's the whole like we grow stronger together, like instead of apart.
yeah,
And also like this is why like there's like a lot of problems too in the community of like
mm,
people not getting paid a lot because I guess they know that we're divided and we won't
mm,
help each other or like backstab.
yeah, sure,
Yeah.
yeah,
But I feel like now even with the like there was the Korean Herald or the Korean Times
mm,
report about like the shape like what happens to foreigners
mm,
of the acting scene. I feel like and no one really has the same opinion as me, but like I feel that there's a change going to be happening soon with the community.
okay,
Yeah, just with like there might be unionized because obviously we're all frustrated
mm-hmm,
that about like going, hey, we're like we don't know, we don't sign contracts, we don't know how
yeah,
much money we're getting
yeah,
compared to the States or Canada
yeah,
where everything is laid out for us.
very transparent. Yeah,
Yeah,
here, yeah, full on smoke and mirrors.
yeah, smoke and mirrors. But
Yeah,
I just had even a thought recently too, because you probably had like messages like on, hey, there's a Samsung shoot happening soon.
yeah,
Like on, are you available? And you go, yep. And then by the way, okay, to apply for this, you also can't work with these competitors for Samsung.
yeah,
And I know a couple like on, and then like, and I said, don't worry, I haven't worked for all these things,
yeah,
and I'm being earnest and honest. But I
yeah,
know there's, I have like, I know some people that have shot with Samsung
yeah,
and then shot with LG
yeah,
within the same week, and they
yeah,
come out, but they're yeah, they might say, oh no, I've never worked for either company
right,
at these casting things.
right,
And well, what I told them, like I even told, like when honestly, I haven't worked for that. You could ask my agent.
yeah,
They have all this stuff.
okay,
So I think yeah, even like me saying that, like on, hey, trust me, you know what? You could even contact my company
right,
to even prove that because they have the pay records of everything.
right,
But like it maybe like, but also like for us to be entertainers, we're registered with the Ministry of Cultural and
mm-hmm,
Performance,
mm-hmm,
just like an English teacher is,
mm,
it's not as regulated as much as a teacher is.
right, yeah,
So I think what's going to be happening soon is probably there's going to be more serious, like even though being an actor is an easy thing,
uh,
we have to be, every person that's on a set has to be paying the taxes for and registered with the Ministry of Cultural and Performance.
mm,
So it might affect some of the F visa people.
right, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
we're in it, so we throw around these terms a lot. I guess any listeners would
Yeah.
have to understand that if you like Wikipedia South Korea visas,
Yeah.
there's like 60, 70 different visas.
Yeah. Going to summarize what I was just saying is like obviously we're registered with the Ministry of Cultural Performance, and
Yeah,
we could we could say yeah, no, contact my agency for it to confirm my collateral, whatever, my CV, my
yeah,
performance history.
yeah,
While the F visa is like, oh, I don't have an agent, I can't do that.
exactly.
Maybe the casting agencies might take the step forward
Mm-hmm.
and only go for the E6 visas or F visa holders that are also registered with the ministry.
Because then they can get their taxes, right?
Yeah, they can
Yeah,
get their taxes right because it's all like a head rush. It's all like complicated for them. Like
yeah, yeah. Yeah. I guess we'll. I mean,
so yeah, I feel like there's probably going to be a union established just to simplify everything.
I know they've tried a few times. Some
Yeah.
of the foreigners in the community have banded together,
Yeah.
and then it just fell apart.
Yeah.
I guess we'll see what happens.
It on our side, it's our frustration because everything is vague and ambiguous. But then we also have to show the mistakes that the Korean sides are making too, and that they could screw up and cause more problems. So it's even though we're not satisfied with it, but right now they're comfortable with it because it isn't fully broken. The Korean side is not fully broken. If we start stirring up on, hey, these are the government's doing this, this, and this, then I guess the casting agents will then have to double check a lot of people's credentials.
Right. I mean, it would be nice if things were a little bit tighter.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would help a lot. It would protect the community a little bit too. Yeah.
But there's all this shady stuff. When they ask for they offer the money and then there's never the usage fee.
Yeah. You have to ask.
I forget that half the time.
Oh, really?
And then 2 days late, I'm going, hey, I just say, they ask, are you available in March for this? Yeah. And it's also very vague, the description that they give.
Yeah.
I think last week you did, or 2 weeks ago, you did a golf clothing brand.
Yeah.
I was there too, but then I was originally there, but then when I showed up and I asked for the usage fee, that was my model fee, that's my model fee, but what's the usage fee? And then they said, I asked for additional pay. They basically actually just removed me because there was a variance of the different models would probably be paid different amounts.
Yeah.
And it's better just to cut. They didn't want me on set probably with them. We go, hey, what'd you get? Hey, what'd you get? What are they paying you?
Yeah.
Because we're not signing an NDA too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then, sure, just send him home.
Yeah.
They messaged me because they were like, okay, we'll get back to you about your price. And I was like, okay. And then they messaged me the night before. They're like, we can't pay that, so we're just going to cut you, so you're a half day.
Yeah.
And I was like, and this was at 9 p.m. and we're supposed to be on set at I think it was 10 a.m. the next morning. And so 12 hours before they just go, and then it's take it or leave it. And you're like, you're like, okay, well then I said, okay, then I'll pass. And then they go, well, no, we need you because there's only a few hours left.
Yeah.
And so then they said, okay, well, we can't pay you what you want, but you're half day now, so we'll cut your pay by this much.
Yeah.
And I was like, whatever.
Yeah. I have a friend that's actually a classical pianist too, and he was telling me a story, and he had to go to Daegu, and there was they were having an orchestra and he they asked him with 2 days notice, hey, we're gonna switch your song, because we have in the show there's some less talented musicians, and they're not comfortable with doing the harder stuff. So whatever, a Beethoven piece.
Yeah.
So it's we have to and you're the more talented one. So you said that you're gonna do this, but we want to switch it. And he's okay, well, if you're switching my song, and it's a harder one, he asked for basically 3 times the amount.
Okay.
Yeah. So he went from 2 million to 6 million.
Oh, okay.
Just on the fly.
And that's
because they were in a hard place too.
Yeah.
They're gonna take you.
They're like, well, what can they do, right?
Yeah,
if he bails, then that's their number one pianist is gone.
Yeah.
And I'm conflicted because you always want sort of the sweet spot, right? So we hear these stories in Canada, America about how bureaucratic it is, right? And these. You can watch a YouTube video from one of these big name directors or whatever, and they're like, sometimes it's really annoying. We just want to switch one little thing, and we can't just do it on the fly. We have to go through the paperwork, and it takes 2 days. Versus Korea, man, there's Wild West, right?
Yeah, that's what I've been describing this. This is the Wild West now.
Anything happens anytime, and just on a whim, it just boom changes.
Yeah.
And it's kind of if you say, yes, I accept that money, and your contract, quote unquote, right, is a text message.
Yeah.
It's just okay, cool. That is you signing.
Yeah.
And then from that point forward, it's we own you. We can do whatever we want in this time, and you just have to roll with the punches. And in some ways, that's fantastic. Like in your pianist case, right?
Yeah.
A day or two before, they're gonna switch it, and he's like, okay, well, this, and they're like, sure, done.
Yeah.
It just happens.
Yeah.
But in other cases, it can, of course, work really against you.
Yeah. It usually works against me.
Yeah, most of the time. But then,
or if they change something on the fly, like, well, that wasn't part of the original agreement, and then they're like, can you put some money? I was like, oh yeah, we'll talk about it later after the shoot.
Yeah, once it's all done, and then they disappear. Yeah,
they disappear.
Yeah, so something obviously in the middle would be, of course, ideal. Yeah, where you do have that flexibility in Korea, but also the protection that they have in North America. But I think that's a long ways away.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I did a commercial last year, and I was just like, background for a food, but then I showed up and they're like going, well, they want one of you to do a line, but they're like going, so they gave me the line, but they're like, okay, but you're still like, you're not the, can I get extra money? We'll talk about it, but there's going to be other people too, so you're getting paid about the same amount. Boom, the commercial comes out. I'm basically the submodel. It's just me, like someone with no lines, and then the main model
like
is
a
talking
Korean
about
celebrity or something.
No, it's just a model.
Okay,
but it's like me. I was like the submodel, one line, and I basically got the background pay. Yeah, and they cut everyone else, all the other backgrounds out.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, and that again, that comes back to that transparency / versus the smoke and mirrors kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, it's we have to, I guess, focus on like actually advertising ourselves as individuals, and like basically you're not tall guy with beard, you're Josh. Yeah. I'm not bald guy with beard, I'm Geoff.
That's right. Yeah. People, so actually let me ask you this. What's your answer when our friends and family back home, right? And we tell them some of these stories. They go, man, like, why do you even do it? What's your answer?
It's I tell my mother, because my mother cares a lot about this, and she's like when I had when I said like, this amount I'm only making, she's going, why are you doing it for that amount of money? I'm like, well, it's always been a passion, and it's always hardest and the lowest pay at the very bottom, but I'm gonna keep going, and hopefully, like while I keep practicing this art, I'll grow and grow, and I'll become better and better, and then maybe I will achieve a higher level of living, or even like better treatment.
Better treatment.
I'm not actually I'm not, because I speak Korean better than you.
Oh yeah.
But I'm never actually treated bad on the set. No. Because if something's uncomfortable, like I'll speak up. I'm not struggling for, like, I'll be on a music video, and I was doing a music video, and this was like the coldest around Christmas. Okay. And they were filming outside, and they wanted it to be kind of a fall scene. Oh yeah, classic. So and they said, and the staff, a lot of the in the chat group, a lot of the actors wanted to leave because the weather was going to be cold, and they didn't want to stand out and get sick. And then we were ensured, don't worry, the staff will be very considerate. There'll be lots of breaks for you guys to stay warm. Right. And that never happened. Sure, it's
just mail service.
Yeah, it's just everyone, like the minute everyone got off, like people were showing up the site at the call time, they're like going, okay, we're shooting quick. And then I see all these girls like in mini skirts, and they're like shivering because we're outside in like -10 degrees.
And like Paju.
And they're freezing. Yeah, and exactly in Paju. Yeah. And they're freezing. Then like we're out there for an hour at least, and then I'm just like going, hey, we want to take a break to the staff. And they go, we have 2 more shots. Please, like 30 more minutes. I'm like going, they're freezing. Yeah. We want to take a break, 10 minutes. And they're like, 30 minutes. I'm like, 10 minutes. Yeah. You promised us breaks so we could stay warm. And of course, it was 10 minutes late. I had to go to the bathroom really bad. Oh, yeah. I was like hiding, like we're freezing, but I'm like pinching my legs together, just trying not to.
And that's, what blows my mind sometimes is they say, okay, 10 minutes, it'll take them at least like you're saying, just give us 10-minute break. That's it.
Yeah.
It'll take them at least 10 minutes to move the cameras.
That's
and
yeah.
to
They
set
were
things
just
up.
moving the cameras.
Exactly. So what is the point? There's no point in you standing there,
Yeah.
right? It serves no purpose. It's not even like they're testing focus or something. It's just they just. I find if you're there and you're not a character or a celebrity, then they treat you like you're a 7-year-old child.
Here's a funny story I saw too. Is right now they're filming like the reality show, like Squid Games.
Oh yeah.
And there's like a lot, like I'm reading articles like that the actors are like complaining about like these 8-hour shoots. They're trying to do this reality torture game kind of thing. Yeah. And the participants are complaining about like unhumane filming schedules and all that stuff. And I'm like going, the actors there did that 12 hours and they're complaining about 8 hours and it's a game.
Yeah. I've thought about that too. I laugh at, how do I word this? I feel like if I transition, lucky enough to transition back to Canada or America and get into that field, then this has been like the training grounds, right? This is for sure. And then when you go over there and you actually have transparency or you're allowed to be warm, it feels like luxury.
Well, that's I think this is what I'm going to be doing for a long time. But I see this, just as my training grounds. And then hopefully I could like satellite out to other Asian countries or even back in Canada and the States to join ACTRA or the SAG Guild. Or,
something like that.
ACTRA being Canadian and SAG being the American one.
Yeah.
But it's wow. We've been talking for a while now. Can you tell me about like a good experience that you've had like on set for acting?
Yeah, for sure.
Like what's the most interesting shoot you've taken part in?
I am most interested in something that involves some sort of like physicality to it.
Yeah. So what have you done that's like the best thing?
Yeah. So one in particular, because it was I really want to be more like an action actor.
Okay.
So there's this one, it was an LG commercial. I don't know if you remember that one, where it's the soldier, the lost soldier.
I think I saw like your photos. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like
that
3 days or something like that.
Yeah. It was just this. So they built this desecrated village with just like these half walls basically, right? Out in the middle of nowhere. And they built up all these walls and different angles, and they were explaining all the planning they did to me, and they already knew all their shots beforehand, which is pretty cool. And we went there, and they're actually lighting fires and like had these bombs and stuff that was going off. Man. Yeah. And they had these big cannons full of debris and stuff that would shoot all this to replicate the earth rupturing, stuff like that. So that one, I really love that one because the physicality of it, just running around in full military gear, and they had real military gear that they got for me, and then like airsoft guns basically, but like the heavy metal ones, and then just having an actual chance to act a little bit, because as you know too, with like commercial modeling, typically there isn't much acting. Right. It's quite different, I think, especially the way that you're supposed to move, behave versus if you're acting in like a show or a movie or something, it's supposed to be in sort of somewhat of a character. So to actually have this soldier type character and then be sprinting around and the stuff blowing up, and it was a lot of fun. Yeah, like even though it's like a commercial model, like and you're not speaking, your body, you have body language too, so you had to get into that soldier move and like keep you up firm and everything calculated. And then that one was also really interesting. So actually, in that one, I did have lines, which was nice. And then there's a big fight between the client and the director. Okay. So the director had already pitched this idea, had done the audition for it, and it was supposed to be like a Twilight Zone kind of concept. Oh, okay. Where the soldier is actually the player. And so it was advertising for this LG TV, right? And it seems so the picture's so good that it feels like you're actually in it. And so that's the concept. And so there's a scene where it breaks the fourth wall, where the soldier looks through this broken wall, and then he's actually staring at the person sitting on the couch playing the game.
Okay.
And that person is supposed to also be me. And so this was the concept. I was fully on board. I used to watch The Twilight Zone. I got it, right? I was like, yeah, I get this. Okay, cool. So that was going to be the third day of filming, was in this nice house on the couch.
Apartment scene or whatever.
Yeah. But then the client was like, no. And this was on the second day of filming when they had already agreed to everything. And they said no. And they brought in this Russian boy who was like 15 years old.
Okay.
An international model, right?
Yep.
And they bring him in and they're like, this is the guy who's sitting on the couch. And the director's like, what? And so they had this huge fight over the course of the whole day.
Right. Yeah.
And then on the third day, the director called me up and he's like, look, just come to here, right?
Yeah.
And we're going to film it anyway. And he's like, I will pay for it myself. He's like, I'm tired of this client. He's like, I'm just going to pay for you. I'll pay your salary, whatever. And I'll film it the way I want. And then there'll be two versions.
Yeah.
There's one that they released for LG, which has the other guy.
Yeah.
And then there's the one that he promoted and has on his feeds and everything. And I do too, which is the one where I'm both.
Yeah. Well, that's also the director's art, right? But the LG guy, probably there's just like a boardroom decision. Then they're going, I think we wanted to target audience to like teenagers for this instead of like middle-aged guys.
I don't know.
So they probably like someone in accounting just like going, oh, we make more money if like having like given this TV from parents giving it to their children than got, actually people with their own salary buying it.
They pull down the screen. It's got the classic bar graph with the upward arrow.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
Cool, man. So so I guess you want to, going forward, you want to do more action roles and like.
Yeah, so
you do have that look, right?
I've done some of that stuff in that movie Hunt that came out. So I was an assassin in that one. That was a lot of fun. Again, another day of just sprinting around and I got to do a full dying scene with squibs and everything.
Oh, yeah.
That was first. I was so nervous.
I did that. I have a movie coming out at the end of March.
Okay.
Too. Yeah, like Kill Buksu too. And
okay. Oh yeah.
Yeah, like I got to.
You got squibbed?
I got squibbed,
Nice.
but they're like I had to have like the line. It's like 40-second non-stop action shot, and I had to be like in the center. The camera is like slowly focusing on the getting smaller, and I had to get the alignment perfectly right.
Oh, really?
And they even had like a guy in a full green suit, so like a CGI, come in and clip onto my back at the very end of it, and then they fired the squibs and they yanked me off the camera.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I had the first two times I fucked up my placement.
Oh yeah.
So like they blew it and they're going, we only have this is our last shirt.
Uh-oh.
And like basically I got it right the final time.
Okay. Good. The pressure, right?
Yeah.
Even though you do rehearsal, they're like, okay, and you practice like 7 times.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, and then you're walking, but that adrenaline hits.
Yeah.
And then you're like, this moment, they're also saying to you every time, right? Make the reaction look natural. Like you can't go early.
Yeah.
It's okay to go late.
Yeah.
Because, bullet passes through you, whatever, and then there's a delay, and then you react fine.
Yeah.
If you go early, it just wrecks it.
Yeah.
And so that nervousness, so yeah.
It was a hard thing because even we did action training for that, but it was like in a studio, but then on the stage it was like this small little area of like they had like a poker table, and like there was pillars cutting off half the camera. So like at one point I'm there and then I just like in the final result I disappear and then suddenly I reappear and I get shot.
Okay.
But I thought it was like I didn't know how the director was filming it. I thought it was just a wide angle.
Right.
So I'm off camera, I'm like loading a shotgun and trying to fire it and it's like jamming. And then suddenly the main actor grabs me, like spins me around. And I'm like, I'm panicking, like, please don't shoot me.
Okay.
And I have basically, like 6 inches of this whole action shot that I have to be on this exact cue.
Right.
And when he like flips me around, the first 2 times, like he didn't spin me enough.
Okay.
Or the second time, like he grabbed me and like the momentum took me off the mark.
Oh yeah.
So like it's even in that action too.
Yeah.
So it had to be like Goldilocks,
Yes.
not too strong, but not too light.
Yeah.
And then finally, the third time we got it right.
Yeah.
And I saw like someone recorded on their phone. So hopefully it comes out pretty well.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, like I think I got even my feet up as they're
Ooh.
yanking me.
Okay. So yeah, they had you on a wire and they gave you a yank.
Yeah, so I had like a harness,
Okay.
and then basically when the main guy like flips me around,
Yeah.
suddenly like a little guy in a green suit that they're going to CGI just
Yeah.
goes click.
Yeah.
I just hear click, and then 3, 2, 1.
And then you're gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm yanked away.
It's so much fun.
Yeah.
I heard an interesting question the other day. So when you get to actually see this stuff, do it, right? Be a
Yeah.
part of it. You're seeing all the behind the scenes magic.
Yeah.
Has it ruined watching movies for you, or has it elevated it?
Well, as a child, like there was actually this program called Beyond the Scene on Discovery Channel. So like,
Okay.
sorry, it was called Movie Magic.
Oh yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
remember
So I was and this was like in the early 2000s. So they showed like all like the behind the scenes techniques,
Mhm.
like for Terminator 2 and
Right.
Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
I saw like I already had an idea of some of this stuff. Like one of the things that if there's like a road scene, they have to water down the street
Yeah,
because a normal street doesn't look black enough, so they have to wet it.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And then so I knew some of these tricks already, so I'm not really like shocked or disappointed seeing all this stuff.
Oh,
I
okay.
actually have more. Yeah, I understand it better, so I don't have to have the explanation as much because I have already familiarity with all this behind the scenes shit.
And that helps a lot when you're in a foreign country
Yeah.
speaking a different language.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. It's even on set that helps me too, because like I don't need like the director to tell the interpreter to then tell me.
Yeah.
I just like the director tells me. I'm like, I understand that already. I saw
Yeah.
it on a TV program.
That's right.
So the interpreter's like just sitting there with their hands on pocket. Oh, I guess I don't need to be here.
That's right.
Where's the coffee table?
That's right. They just go stand off to the
Yeah,
side for
yeah,
a bit.
Yeah. They just watch, making sure that no one takes pictures of behind the scenes.
They kind of become security.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Well, Josh, it was great talking to you.
Yeah.
Before we wrap this up, do you want to plug any of your social media or anything?
I mean, yeah, I guess I could.
Yeah. So people can follow you and
Sure.
maybe you'll get one fan.
That's right. Yeah, well, sweet. Bring it on.
Bring it on one
That's it,
fan.
man. All of them help. Yeah, I guess the place I'm only really active is Instagram.
Instagram. Yeah.
Yeah. Notorious,
Mhm.
or just search Josh Newton.
Josh Newton.
And I answer messages, DM, stuff like that. I talk to everybody. It takes me a bit, but usually I'll wait a few months, then reply to comments on posts if there are anything like that.
That's an interesting. I'm gonna steal
I mean,
that.
I'm so tiny that it's easy to do right now.
Yeah.
So I'll like let one sit for a couple months and then go back and answer all the.
I'm gonna try that a little bit too.
Yeah, it's fun. That kind of engagement, it feels good, right?
All right. So follow Josh on Instagram.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a handsome action star, I recommend him. He's got a lot of practice at it. As well, follow me on Instagram and Twitter at comedy GEOFFY, as well as I do a comedy podcast with my comedian friends Arthur Minsu and Louis Cho, and you could just search what we are called the Cancel Ward. So Ward, WARD. Thank you very much. And thanks everyone for listening to Rice Camera Action. I'll be back with another episode soon.
Thanks a lot, Jeff. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.